Thank you, Madam Chair. Administrator McCarthy, just to clarify, you have the authority, is that not correct, under the Clean Air Act to set a carbon pollution standard for power plants. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Now, when you were developing the state targets, you looked at 4 different types of actions. But a state does not have to follow these exactly. A state can figure out the best way in their assessment to reach the carbon reduction target. Is that
That is correct.
right? So you have 50 states, you could have 50 different approaches.
That's right. That's what I expect.
And
Well, we may.
We may not. But we're not in a position to tell them what to do. They have to make the
correct.
decision. Right? So they may want to have the same plan as another state, but they may not. Now, let me ask you another question. A lot of times you hear from people saying that it really hurts the economy of the United States when there is a clean air law that goes on the books, that it's too dangerous to run the risk of trying to make the air cleaner, to reduce the number of people who get sick, to reduce the number of people who die from dirty air. And they say, pretty much, the air's clean enough. You don't make it any cleaner, but again, we've seen this huge increase in the number of people who don't die or don't get sick because of the Clean Air Act. So what I have over my shoulder is a chart from 1929 to today, and it reflects the growth in the GDP of the United States of America. That includes the 1970, the 1977, and the 1990 Clean Air Acts. And with the exception of a period around 2008 and 2009, when there was a complete failure of regulation of the financial industry, we've seen upward GDP growth. Could you talk a little bit about that, the connection between this clean air, journey that we've been on and the growth in GDP in our country? Is there a choice that we have to make?
I think Chairman Boxer eloquently stated the kind of GDP growth we've seen while we've been able to significantly reduce air pollution. On the, basically, over 70% reduction in air pollution under the Clean Air Act, while our GDP has tripled. And so every time we put a new rule out, that is what we what we always hear, frankly, from some small groups, but it really has never come true. And in this rule, we don't expect that this will have an impact other than to have jobs grow, the economy to grow, the U.S. to become more stable, the U.S. to take advantage of new technologies, innovation, and investments that will make us stronger over time.
So I just would like to say that in Senator Whitehouse, as part of this regional greenhouse gas initiative, we've been in this plan in Massachusetts for the last 6 or 7 years, and something quite remarkable has now happened. Massachusetts is now 4th in solar deployment in the United States, and we're kind of not the perfectly sunny state. We're more like the perfect storm state, but we've moved forward on that front. We've now created 80,000 clean energy jobs in Massachusetts. We're going to add another 10,000 this year, bringing it up to 90,000. And while nationally electricity rates have gone up 13% over the last 6 years, they've actually gone down in Massachusetts by 6%, even as we've had a system that's not too dissimilar from the one that you're now propounding for the whole country. And we've seen a 23% expansion in the Massachusetts economy while we've had a cap-and-trade system in place in Massachusetts. So I just think it's important for people to understand that the model's already there. It can be made to work. It's flexible, but it does, in fact, have a lot of evidence that shows that it can be done. Now, I understand that some states have already surpassed the renewable energy production levels built into the 2030 state targets. Are you considering building more ambition into some of the state targets where states are already going further than the levels assumed in the proposed rules?
Well, Senator, we are looking at all comments that we receive. We have a very long comment period, 120 days. We're looking forward to 4 public hearings next week. So we will be certainly listening to those and making appropriate changes one way or the other.
And again, following on the Massachusetts model, isn't it very possible that the proposed rules that you're considering could wind up lowering electricity rates for people all across the country? I think that's kind of, to some people, contradictory from the way they think about the issue, but we've seen in Massachusetts it's happened. Talk about nationally what you could expect to be seen by consumers.
Well, what we're projecting is that consumers will see a lowering of their energy bills, and that's because we're getting waste out of the system. And because that's the cheapest, most effective way to get these reductions is to become more efficient.
So
and to
explain that
deliver
just a little bit more.
efficiently.
In Massachusetts, we have a funny accent, and we just say that's working smarter, not harder. And so explain the efficiency angle in
Yeah.
terms of what you're giving the states the flexibility to implement.
Well, there's two
And
ways
do this
that you
as
can.
fast as you can with your accent. Go ahead.
Okay. There's two ways to get reductions at fossil fuel facilities in terms of the pollution they emit for carbon. You can run them less, or you can make them more efficient when they run. And both of those are part of the building blocks here. So you can actually do that by increasing efficiency at the facility, but you can also do that by providing consumers, and many low-income consumers, support for new building codes, weatherizing houses, more efficient appliances that they can use. When those things happen, their dollars go down in terms of how much they need to spend every month on
I
their
think
electricity
your plan
bill.
is smart, it's effective, and it's ultimately going to be cost-effective. Thank you.
You mean smart,
Smart.
not smart. What? Okay, we're going to turn to Senator Barrasso.
Thank you very much, Madam Chairman. Ms. McCarthy, why did you let high